Hey, and welcome back to the road to the Great Canadian Open Winter 2026. This very well could be the last episode of the series that involves painting anyway. This is my video series as you follow me as I paint up my Brotherhood Without Banners army 1 hour a day, 1 day at a time. And we are literally probably at the last step. The whole point of the series, before I get into the painting part, is to help you, to inspire you to paint your army as well. It's to show new players and to show existing painters, or new painters, I should say, not new players, but new hobbyists, that the key, in my opinion, to getting an army done is to paint a little bit on a regular basis. For me, I was trying to do 1 hour a day, and it was tough. I won't lie. Once the work year started, because I'm a teacher and recently just got back to work in September, it was definitely more difficult to find that hour, and I found that it was better for me to find pockets of time. So I wake up in the morning, and I'm a slow mover in the morning, so I give myself lots of time to shower, have breakfast, blah, blah, blah. And I also found maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes in the morning to do some painting as well. And then I come back from home from work, get a drink, and then, paint for another 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And if you follow my series, you'll notice that I often say this step took 30 minutes, this step took 40 minutes, this step took 20 minutes. So you can get a step done in those pockets of time. Just got to string together enough pockets of time to get an hour in my case. But it's not possible for everyone. Everyone has different schedules. Maybe you've got more work. Maybe you've got kids. Maybe you've got something else going on in your life. So if you can't do an hour, do half an hour. If you can't do half an hour, do 15 minutes. Paint every other day. Do what you can, And as long as you're regular, you'll see progress, incremental progress, and over time, that progress will become an army at some point. So for me, it was about 90 hours of work-ish to get it done, but it's worth it. At the end, it's worth it because your army is done forever afterwards, and it's going to look great on the tabletop. People are going to look at your army and be like, oh, those guys look cool. You might get them to want to play as well, and that's another big part for me is the more painted armies we have out there, the more people I think will be attracted to our great game. The second part of my preachy rant, as always, is please come on down in January to the Great Canadian Open hosted by the TGX. It'll be at the Small Arms Inspection Center in Mississauga, and it's going to be a great time. It's going to be 2 days of gaming of A Song of Ice and Fire, 5 games, very vanilla, 40 points, pick 2 lists, player pick terrain, blah, blah, blah. Player pack in ticket sale, ticket information is in the description box below. We hope to see you there. If you're from Kitchener-Waterloo, London, Windsor, if you're from Barrie, if you're from North Bay, Sudbury, if you are from Kingston, if you're from Gatineau, Ottawa, if you're from Montreal, Quebec City, if you're from the States, you are welcome. Come on down. We want to see you play. We will sell out 32 players. We've already started to sell tickets, so don't wait too long. It's now middle of October. The months are crawling along, and soon it'll be November, then December, and then January. And that'll be too late if you had not bought your tickets yet. So please buy a ticket, folks, and I hope to see you there along with my Brotherhood of Without Banners army. So let's see where we're at and what the last step we'll see is. All right, so here's where we're picking up. The banners are fully prepped and ready to start painting. I think we just start with the silver. So I'm going to paint the blade silver, of course. I'm going to paint the hilt and the pommel in gold. I think I'm going to paint the handle in my typical Mephiston red with a brown wash. And honestly, that might be very quick. So I think I'll do all those steps, and then we'll come back and see how much time we got left. So when our work starts now, let's go. 40 minutes later, we are back, and we've got the metal base coats down. So I'm using a bit more of a thorough paint scheme for the metals, just because I want them to look a little bit richer. So what I did is, for the metal blade part, I started with a dark metal color. I chose metallic from the Vallejo range, followed by a base coat of natural steel from the AK range, and with the Null Oil wash, which is from Games Workshop. If you're using Games Workshop paints, you can also use Iron Warriors Metallics, followed by Runefang Steel, then the Null Oil. For the gold, I used Rusty Gold, followed by a base coat of, I think it's just called Gold from the AK range, followed by a Reichland Flesh Wash. If you're using GW colors, you can use Balthazar Gold, followed by Retributor Gold, and then the Reichland Flesh Wash. So we're 40 minutes in, which means that we're not getting this done in 20 minutes. I'm wondering what to do for the last 20. Now, I could work on the handles, except I don't know what color I want to do them anymore. Originally, I wanted to do them red, but if the flames are going to be flame colors, so reds, oranges, yellows, whites, I don't know if I want more red on the handle. So I could work on the base and start working on the stone, or I could also do some very like thin highlights along the blade edges just to bring it up a little bit. Um, I think I work on the base because I want to see how the flames go on first before I work on the blade more. I've got a feeling that the handles might end up getting green, perhaps, tied to my Brotherhood, or maybe a neutral color like black, gray, or brown. But until I get the flames down, I just don't know what color I want to use yet. So I guess we'll work on the base. We'll just use some grays, and we'll go from there. So see you soon after 20 minutes. 30 minutes later, we are back and we are done for the day. So I finished the rocky bases where the swords are embedded in. And how I did them was I base coated them with Dawnstone. And I usually would go over it twice, but I knew I was going to give it washes and a dry brush, so I didn't bother giving it a super thorough solid layer, but a decently one. After the base coat, I washed it with Nuln Oil, let it dry, and then washed it again with Agrex Earthshade. I wanted the Agrex Earthshade to be the last layer to give it more of a brown, warm tone. And once that was done, it was actually very, very dark. And instead of dry brushing it with just Rakarth Flesh, which would have been too much of a contrast, I think, I went on with Dawnstone dry brush first, and then a dry brush of Rakarth Flesh to brighten it back up. So here we are after an hour. Most of the sword is done. Just going to really work on the flames and the handles, and that'll be next session. And then we have to decide if we want to do anything with the base. Should we leave the base black or something else? We're not sure. We're going to come back and do the flames and see what's up. So that's it for today, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed today's session, and we got some more bonus content for you. Another TTS Battle Report coming up. Hey, welcome back to another TTS Battle Report between myself and Jay. So last week we just came back from a ELO handicap event that was won by my buddy Rich, one of the best Canadian players out there. And he won with Tywin Lannister, and he actually ran double Tywin. And part of the reason why he won is because Tywin's fairly low ranked, which meant that every win you get got you more tournament points. So Rich dominated, won the whole thing. And whenever Rich wins a tournament, I always end up looking at Lancers again and thinking about them and wondering about them. So this list is partly inspired by Rich, but also partly inspired by my friend Phil Tremblay from Montreal, who used to run a very similar style list with mass knights. I think most players know that knights are good, heavy cav that move decently fast, well armored, hit hard. What's not to like? They're kind of the most obvious thing to compare to in the 8-point category. Whenever you have a unit that's 8 points, you have to ask yourself, why don't I just take knights? Now, in this new edition, because you can take attachments for free, you don't really look at 8-point units anymore. Every unit's really a 7-point unit plus a free attachment. But once upon a time, if you ever had an 8-point unit, for some reason, you'd always be like, why not just take knights? So Phil took mass knights once upon a time, and I thought, why don't players just take mass knights now? All those reasons: they move fast, they hit hard, they're durable, and Lancer knights have supremacy, so if you attack them, you might take extra damage as well. So I did bring 2 lists, but I really wanted to try this version. So on my side, we have Commander Tywin and Poor Fellows. Very unthematic. He would never join Poor Fellows. He's really there because he offers issue commands. He has other abilities and cards, of course, but issue commands is the real deal so that you can get some surprise charges off. And then I've got 3 units of Casterly Rock Knights. 2 of them have Butchers for the Fuel by Slaughter, and with my extra 2 attachment points, I have Turncoats in his list. My NCUs were Cersei, so I can draw some Hear Me Roars. Roos for panic tokens to combo with the Supremacy, plus Hear Me Roar, of course. And Varys, just because Varys is just a flexible NCU. Jay also ran something different. So last week, people were bringing quite a few 2 NCU lists. So he wanted to try out a 2 NCU list of his own. His trick is he's taking Tyene and Ilaria, very strong NCUs. Tyene blocks off a zone, so he felt like if he only takes 2, he's kind of blocking off a zone, so I'm only releasing 2 as well kind of mentality. So his list is very shooty. He's got 2 units of Skyreach Bowman. This one here has the Spear Lord for Bolts and Courage for extra shots. This one here has the Higher Hermit Sentinel for high mobility. He's got 2 units of Sand Skirmishers. One has I think Edric Dane for Dauntless, and the other one has Harmon Uller for reinforcements. I put both units of both turncoats in those units because I knew that they'd have to get close and expose themselves. I didn't want to put them in the bowmen who could potentially use their fellow trays to block themselves off from getting attacked. So they're there, and then his commander, I forgot who his commander is. I think it's Damon something or other. He's the guy who lets you have ripe for act, who lets you attack start of the round. He's immune to spearman, just for the tactical reposition, more or less. I think he's also there for that thirst for vengeance, because it's very, very strong when you've got archers who can open the round with a shot, reroll the hit, vulnerable tokens, all that kind of stuff. So we are playing Here We Stand, which is capture table quarters, and I won the dice off for terrain. I dropped a wood in the middle, a weirwood, sorry. The reason why I did the weirwood, which might seem a bit counterintuitive to Lannisters who want to hurt enemy morale, is I also wanted clear terrain that would not impede me from charging my opponent. Now, it does mitigate the effects of Hear Me Roar, it does mitigate the effects of Supremacy, but I still think it was worth it. I put this here. He put down a palisade here, knowing that he's got a lot of shooting. I put down the weirwood to clear the way, and he put down another palisade way down here. He won the dice off for choice of side of first player. He chose this side with the palisade to keep himself safe, and then I started deploying. So you'll notice here I measured a red line. So because you can start so close to your opponent, I just put myself outside of 14 that he would need some trickery, like a tactical reposition or a cunning ploy or a horse to get in shooting range. So that's what that red line's all about. So we deployed, and I'm kind of central. I stayed away from the palisade, and he's just kind of bunkering down. If you ever played Warhammer Fantasy back in the day, we call this like a refused flank, where you don't really offer flank to your opponent and you just kind of curve out. Now, that's fine in a scenario where you can just kind of hunker back, but in Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, I should say, you do generally have to capture objectives, so we'll see how this plays out. So, at the end of round one, quite predictably, he's using the terrain to, again, block off his flanks. He's using palisades to block off movement. And I know that I want to stay away from this palisade. I know he's going to use it against me, so my trays start moving sideways. I did draw 2 briberies from round one. I took the envelope right away, and I did drop them on the units I thought I was going to attack. And I just started swerving away. Now, one of my units took a wound from a panic test, and I just had him kind of dive into the middle here. Nothing special really happened at this point. So yeah, just positioning and over to round 2. So round 2, Jay knows that I'm setting up a charge for round 3. He knows that if he stays back, he's going to be pretty safe. And that's pretty much what happens. I did not issue commands, so I was never in a position to really use it to get a surprise charge off. So this side here, these archers stayed in this quarter to capture my home quarter. Harmnuller in the Sand Skirmishers pushed forward to threaten and to reinforce this side. Seeing that he could easily capture this quarter, I knew that one night break was not enough to hold it, even with an NCU. So all my knights just swerve left to focus on his 2 units here. And pretty much, yeah, Jay knew it, I knew it. I was just setting up a mass charge on the left side here. Critically, when he activated this unit, I had both of the correct zones, so I played Subjugation of Power, and I set up with a panic token so that they took 2 wounds on their activation. I really want to try and pop them as soon as I can. There's a turncoat in there as well, so he really only has 9 wounds. I had drawn Hear Me Roar by this point, so I felt really good about killing that unit off. Critically, Jay did use, after I started swerving, he did use a Cunning Ploy, which I was happy about because it didn't save him from getting charged. It may have saved him from getting charged turn 2, but it didn't save him from getting charged turn 3, which was the plan all along. So we each captured 2 quarters, so we scored 2-2. I had an extra NCU, he poisoned the swords, so I just put him in this quarter knowing that there's no point putting him here because he had way too many points to contest that quarter. So round 3 coming up. I led the round with a charge with my knights into the flank of his Sand Skirmishers. I popped the turncoat, and the turncoat means he gets a token, and he cannot be the target of orders or cards. Critically, he can't be the target of cards, which meant I knew he could not auto-pass.
with the Unbent, Unbound, and Broken card. So I decided to drop a Panic token because I didn't want him to spike the Panic test. With a Hear Me Roar in the flank, he had good odds to fail, but if he passes, it's a big deal. The Panic token will, really, really make it unlikely for him to pass, and the extra damage probably means more than a vulnerable token because he would be only saving on sixes anyway in the flank. So charged in, blew them up, and that was great. They surged here, which meant that this unit of Skyreach Bowman with the High Hermit Sentinel could not just run away 14. I was trying to box this unit in. So he took the horse to turn around the commander. I think it's Daemon. About to double check. Maybe it's Dark Star. I can't remember. And the guy with Ripe Varag. I should really look this up. He turned around to threaten my rear. I used the shift token to shift up from Varys to shift up this unit of knights. And then basically I double charged his archers, managed to kill them, but that did commit all my activations. Now I didn't actually kill them with the double charge. He had dropped some weakened tokens or something on me, and I wasn't able to kill them. But with the sword and with I think a panic test, I was able to finish them off. But sadly, I didn't kill them in combat, so I was not able to turn around afterwards. This unit came around and did their whole mark target, shift and shoot, and did some damage here. This unit used Cunning Ploy to allow this unit to get in position. I failed the counterplot, unfortunately. And then I just pushed up Tywin to weaken this unit at the end of the round. So it's now 6-4. We've each captured 2 quarters again, but I did kill 2 units. So I'm feeling pretty good about this, even though I know he's leading the round. The knights seem relatively healthy, and this unit is not particularly dangerous. So I figured, I'm in good shape. I was getting a little cocky, won't lie. And cockiness kind of cost me. So round 4, you'll see I'm missing 2 knights. So Jay very cleverly played Mark Target on the Spearman to swing into the back of the knights. He also healed with Rally Cry, his Sand Skirmishers. And basically, with that attack, another attack, their own attack, he was able to kill off my 2 knights. So he scored 2 points. But I was able to capture this quarter, and I was able to push Tywin into this quarter and drop an NCU. You don't see it, but I did drop an NCU at the end of the round, so that I got 1 point ahead. So in terms of material, I'm actually behind because he has 2 real units. He has Sand Skirmishers and Archers, and I only have 1 unit Knights and poor fellows who really don't do anything. They're really just there to be an issue commands battery, which I haven't used yet, by the way. So I'm actually a little bit nervous, but the only thing that keeps me confident is that I'm a point ahead, and all I really have to do is tie the score, right? Not tie, but like if we each score 2 points, that's me. I should win 11-10. Now I have to remember, is that how it works? Is it first to? I have to double check. Would I even win the game if I won 11-10, or would we play on because we both have 10 points? I don't remember. So we'll. I think I win. I think if it's a tie, you play round 6, but if you have more, the game's over. So this is the state of the game, round 4, and I'm now leading round 5. So I lead the round with a charge into the Sand Skirmishers. I pop the Turncoat. I do a lot of damage. He ends up retreating at the end of the day, and I'm down to 1 card at this point. I play Hear Me Roar. I play something else, and he's pretty much gambling that I don't have issue commands. But by this point, I've gone through 12 of my 20 cards, and I did have it. So that was the nail in the coffin. This unit, after the retreat, charged in with a issue commands, killed them off, and the score will end 12-10. Now, it's a bit of a weird game to analyze. Like, is it because I had triple knights and that sounds very scary, or is it because he had 2 NCUs? Is it because he's got a new list? Is it because this commander who's trying out is not particularly good? It's really hard to say. I think Rich is correct in that, I proposed this list to him and he's like, it's not good. And talking to Jay, I think it's not good because I have 3 units that do stuff and 1 unit that doesn't. And yes, there are 3 knights, but if this unit was crossman, for example, I can downgrade 1 unit to be brigands. This unit can be crossman. These guys can actually be part of the game, and that's much better. Or another thought is that I can keep this unit the same as Poor Fellows, take Gregor Clegane, which is again super silly because why would Gregor be with Poor Fellows? But the reason why you take him is you want Price of Failure to auto hit with the 9 attacks from the lances. And downgrade one of your knights to be brigands. With those extra 2 points, you upgrade one of your NCUs to be Tywin Lannister, and now you have a Tywin bomb to go with it. So that might be better. I'm not sure which one is better, but they both seem better than this because one unit does nothing. Issue commands did come in clutch at the end, but might have been better to have had either Tywin bomb or crossbows. For Jay, he wanted to try out 2 NCUs, but the scenario was not good for 2 NCUs because you don't really punish me for putting poison down because I can put my NCU on the board anyway, and he just felt limited by giving up sword options and giving up bag options, etc., etc. He also didn't like this list, he said, because he just felt like into 3 knights, the archers really didn't have much of a chance. But I've definitely played them before, where the right to act, where you get to lead the round with a free attack, has been pretty devastating. So it's hard to say. It's just like one game. You can't decide anything. You're just getting a feel for how it works for now. But I do agree that 3 knights is probably too much, and it's probably better to take crossbows or Tywin. So that's the game, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll see you soon for one last episode, hopefully coming up. So keep the faith. See you next time. Bye bye.